the name of the other
Sean.
gentleman? What was that?
Hi, guys. My name is Sean King. Welcome to the Pulling Around
Sean.
Show. I'm here with my partner, Chris, and we're honored to have the world famous Tony Robles with us. Before you say hi, Tony, I want to read off a couple of his titles and achievements. He's got the Tony Robles Sportsmanship Award named after him. He's got a high run straight pull of 268 balls, 8 racks of 9-ball. He's been the house pro at Amsterdam's billiard clubs for over 20 years. He writes columns in the Billiards Digest magazine, 7-time Predator Pro-Am Tour Player of the Year, 7-time Tri-State Player of the Year, and so many championships. I've got about, 30 more here. 2-time Mosconi Cup champion, and been playing for, by my count, 44 years. Is that right, Tony?
That's a long time. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on the show, gentlemen. It's an absolute pleasure. More than anything, I would like to thank you and you both and your staff for what you're doing for the game, because I think that anyone that's crazy enough to take up this game is brave. But I really appreciate what you're doing for the community. It's a tightly knit community, and anyone that does anything for it, I'm all for it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
He's talking to you, Chris.
I said thank you. Appreciate it. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly clear.
Okay.
I'm just setting up my little shop here, getting a little shade. Go ahead.
So what got you into pool?
My dad was a semi-pro who used to gamble. He used to play $100, $200, $300 a set with some people in a pool hall. I didn't know that until he took me to a pool hall at the age of 13. And I watched him play, and he's playing this guy, and every time he made a ball, I said, "Go, Dad!" I got excited. But what really got me even more excited was when I heard the sound of the ball hitting the back of the pocket. Bah! And I'm saying, "Man, that's a really cool sound. I want to do that. Dad, can I do that?" But they wouldn't let me play unless I was 15 years or older and accompanied by a parent. So I had to wait a couple of years. I mean, I did play. The owner would let me go there in the weekends when there was no one there. But that's what really got me hooked to the game. So one of my dad's friends watched me playing, and he said, "Do you really want to learn how to play the game, kid?" And I said, "Sure." So he handed me a book written by Steve Mizrak, an instructional book. And I got so excited. My eyes lit up. I read the entire book that night. I didn't go to sleep till like 3, 4 a.m. The following day, I was practicing left and right hand spin, which I'm not supposed to. It's a beginner, but I didn't know that. I just got excited.
Wow. What was the name of that book by Steve Mizrak? Do you know?
It's been such a long time, I can't remember it, but I believe he had 2 of them. If I saw the cover of it, I'm pretty sure I can remember it.
So there you go, guys. If you want your kid to become a champion pool player, just don't let him play for a couple years. That'll really get him going, and then give him a book.
Yep.
So what do you think? What do you think is? Go ahead.
Okay. No, you go ahead.
So Tony, what do you consider to be the most important skill for a pool player to develop, and how do you work on improving that skill?
Oh, the mental game, 100%. Yeah, that's because I've met so many players throughout my career that are just so super talented, and even talented than a lot of other players that are top players, and they just can't get it done. And it's because the way to master it is people like to work on the physical game as much as possible. They like to shoot shots over and over and over, but not everyone has the ability to believe in themselves, because a lot of it has to do with your upbringing. If you have people putting you down when you were growing up, as a kid, you're going to get used to that type of mentality. But if you're a fighter, you're able to surpass that point. But I recommend working on your mental game by reading certain books, watching instructional videos, and working on mental exercises, all that jazz. I spoke to Chris briefly about a book called With Winning in Mind, written by a gentleman by the name of Lanny Basham, who's a former Olympic gold medalist, silver medalist, and world champion in rifle shooting, I believe. And he wrote this book when he realized that he had been practicing more than any other guys that were in competition, that he was in competition with constantly, and they kept telling him that he's over trying, and he couldn't understand what that meant. And then eventually he broke it down in his book where he said, if you're thinking that a shot is hard, let's say, for example, in pool, this is my version of what he said, you're over trying. Because what's the point of you repeating a shot 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 times, and then every time the shot comes up in the game, you still believe it's a hard shot? Well, you have to believe at some point that you're going to make the shot. So you have to teach yourself how to think of something other than the result of the shot. So when I give my students lessons, I tell them, look, learn how to focus on your technique. So what I do is I pick the object ball, the spot of the object ball. I go ahead and do my pre-shot routine. I come back as many times as I need to. And once I commit to going forward, my focus is on going in a dead straight line to the intended aim point while ignoring both the path of the cue ball and the object ball. Because by doing that, I have gotten my game to the point where I learned how to trust my technique and understand that if I focus on my technique, the shot will take care of itself on its own. But if I go ahead and focus on the outcome of the result of the shot, I'm literally giving. Excuse me, are you there? Can you hear me?
Okay, say that
Yeah.
one more time. You muted out
Yeah.
for a minute.
Yeah, if I focus on the outcome of the result of the shot, I'm giving my subconscious mind an opportunity to get in there. Says, hey, listen, I see you're struggling with this shot. Let me help you out by steering the object ball in the direction you wanted to go, or the cube in the direction you wanted to go. So anytime that you think about any outcome, you're always giving your subconscious mind an opportunity to get in there. And once you've done that, you're doomed to fail, because now that becomes part of your thought process. And the longer you do it, when I read this book, and I couldn't believe I went an entire career over trying. I don't even know how I even won tournaments, to be honest with you. But then I got to a point where I no longer think about it. I can go for 3 months without playing, and I come back within an hour, I feel like I never left, because I have a certain way of thinking now. But it literally took me almost 1 full year to get all that garbage that I had gathered together inside my brain throughout an entire career to get it out completely. It's not something that's easy to get out if you're used to thinking a certain way. So what I do now is
I want to say thank you for you were on a stream. I don't remember what the stream was, but you encouraged the listeners. I was one of them to get that book, and I went ahead and did it. And I ended up reading 3 or 4 more books from Lanny Basham and got his workbook where you track your progress and your goals and things. The big thing that I got out of it right away is I was definitely over trying all the time. And the other one was I was way too interested in the result versus the process. And the third biggest one was I was reinforcing bad shots. I didn't know that I was, but by focusing on my mistakes, I was only repeating them in my mind. And according to him, and I believe it too, whether you're doing it in your mind or not, whether you're imagining missing that shot again in your mind or you're actually doing it is no different.
Yeah.
So I was reinforcing bad things.
Yeah. No, and that's why I tell people all the time, why do you think that when you watch an elite player on YouTube or any other channel, when they have the look of shock on their face when they miss a ball, because they never expected to miss it to begin with. In their minds, that ball's already in. They're not getting down on the shot and saying, I better not dog this shot, because if I do, it's going to be hill-hill. I better not dog this shot, it's hill-hill. I might lose a world championship. They don't think like that. They don't think like that. In their minds, the ball's already in before they even step into the shot. And if you can't get yourself used to that type of thinking and approach the shot with the correct attitude, you're doomed to fail. And I'm talking about, this goes for any shot. It could be a ball in front of the pocket. How many times have both of you gentlemen seen some of the world's best players miss the easiest of shots and it cost them a tournament, a major title? Because this game demands absolute focus on every single shot. And if you respect every single shot equally, you will be as more successful than most players. If not, well, you might make this one because you gave it a little bit of respect, but you missed the other one because you disrespected it. You didn't give it the same amount of detail.
Let's talk about respect for a second. Let's talk about the Tony Robles Sportsmanship Award. What is that? How did it come about? How do you win that?
What's his name? Oh my God. I don't know if it was you that did an interview with him. Guy from LA. My God, I can't believe it. I'm forgetting everything nowadays. Whatever you do, don't grow old. You forget everything, all right? I'm 57, so
Jay?
Yeah. Jay Helfer. There you go, Jay.
Jay.
I apologize, Jay. It's just I've got my mind on carpentry. I'm a carpenter now, not a pool player. But anyway, Jay called me several years ago and told me, Tony, I want to start a sportsmanship award, and I want to name it after you, but I wanted to make sure that I got your blessing with it. And I have to be honest with you, I cried a tear because I felt so honored that he would think of me that way. I really, really appreciate it. It meant a lot to me. And I said, yes, please, that would be absolutely wonderful. And so he started it, and I believe the first year that he started it, Ralph Souquet won it. No, I think Oscar Dominguez won it. I believe Oscar Dominguez won it the first year, then Ralph Souquet the next year, and then the last time he did it, it was Niels Fayen.
Okay.
Yeah, and all three of them are my buddies, so I know him very, very well. But I'm very proud of them. I'm very proud to have had something named after me. It really means a lot to me. I've been saying for years that winning the sportsmanship award twice in my career has meant more to me than any title I've actually won in the game of pool. And that's simply because I've always believed in representing the sport in as professional a manner as possible. And I've always tried to set that example for the younger generations and the ones after that and after that, as long as I'm alive. And if I can just get one person to get it, I feel like I've done a good job. But obviously, I'm hoping that I can get more, because people come to me all the time and have told me, Tony, why have you had more doors open for you throughout your career than players that have won world titles and U.S. Opens and stuff like that, or even just other elite players in general? And I said, because I care about people. I'm a people person. I'm easily accessible. I can be in a tournament and you come to me and say, hi, hey, what's up? How are you? It's always a pleasure talking to people. Another example that I try to tell them that they need to set is, I was playing Johnny Archer in the Straight Pool Challenge in Vegas many years ago, and I missed an 11-ball hanger in the side pocket, needing 7 balls with an open table to go to the final against Mika. I missed that 7-ball. Johnny ran out, beat me, and for one of the very few times in my career, I took my cue and I threw it with anger inside my case. Not on a pool table, not on the floor, but people could tell that I was visibly angry. And I start walking away, and someone taps me from behind, and it was a 7 or 8-year-old boy. I completely turn off the switch. I get down on one knee and I say, hey, buddy, how are you? I said, thank you for taking the time to come and say hi. He said, Mr. Robles, it's a pleasure meeting you. I love the way you play. And I said, are you playing in the tournament? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, come over here. Let me show you a couple of things you might be able to use tomorrow in your match. So I start working with the kid for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. And then after I do that, I look at him and I said, what time are you playing tomorrow? He said 9 a.m. And I looked at his dad and I said, Dad, this is my number. Call me and let me know what table he's playing on tomorrow so I can go and support him. And sure enough, that's what I did. And I said, hey, buddy, I just want to let you know, it's an honor and a pleasure to have met you. I have one piece of advice for you, though. The only way you're going to become the best player in the world is if you get an education first and build a career for yourself. That way, if pool never works out, if something, the game of pool goes down, whatever, you end up with an injury, you have a career to fall back on. Thank you, Mr. Robles. I really appreciate that. It's a pleasure meeting you, buddy. I shook his hand. He turned around. I started walking away, and I'm pissed again. I'm thinking about the 11 again. But you see, I was able to turn the players, man. I don't get them sometimes. I understand we hate to lose. I hate to lose. Everyone hates to lose. But I've always felt that there was that line that if you might do something that you don't even realize that you did, and then you wonder why some doors don't open for you and others do. And that's part of the advice that I like to give to people when I talk or speak about sportsmanship.
Well, that's a really good answer to our question, and plus a nice story there. I've always known you to be a giver. You're not in the pool room or in the pool world to take anything. You're there to give and share. And, a lot of times that's what gets rewarded. And, you're welcome to every single event. Every time you go somewhere, they're begging you to come back. You leave people better than you found them. So you're definitely carrying the torch for American sportsmanship. That's for sure.
It's very important to me. And again, I'm hoping that some people that watch this video, especially the younger generation, can get some good stuff from what I'm saying from your videos, because I think it's only going to help them build a better future for themselves and, more importantly, for the game.
Chris?
So since you started playing professionally, what do you think have been what are some of the biggest changes that you've seen over the years?
The way the game has evolved. Yeah, 9-ball has evolved in a way that I never thought possible. When they started figuring out the rack years ago, and I saw that the corner ball was going in and it was guaranteed to go in every single time with the magic rack, I said, that's it, 9-ball's dead. I can't see this game going anywhere. But then Matchroom came along and changed some of the rules and changed the format a bit, and I think they've done an amazing job. And I know that they're trying to globalize the game, which is a reason why they're not doing other games. Me being a straight pool player and an 8-ball player, those are my two favorite games, my best games. I'm not saying I play 9-ball 8 or 10-ball bad, but those are just my preferred games, 8-ball and 10-ball. But I still appreciate and respect what Matchroom has done in a very short period of time. Emily's done an incredible job.
Agreed.
So it's evolved in a way where I think the newer generation, I just said this to someone the other day, I think the players nowadays are better than the players back in the 80s and 90s. Because even back then, they didn't kick as well as the younger generation does. They didn't jump and successfully pocket balls and play position the way they did back then. That's not to say that the players of back then couldn't be as good as the players today, because if they had the same type of style back then or rules, then they would have evolved into what the game has evolved now as far as the players are concerned.
Okay. I want to talk about being a house pro and for doing it for so many years. What will you explain what that involves, being a house pro somewhere? Because just being a guy that hangs out at the pool room that gets free pool time, that's not really a house pro. I want to talk about what you do and how others can be a house pro and help their pool community.
Excuse me. I think that everyone has a different definition of a house pro. A lot of times people like to say, well, this player is my house pro, just to attach their name to their room, so that in the hopes of getting more people to come there. Me, I took it a step further. I said in previous interviews that the one thing with me is I had reached a certain point in my career where I knew I had to practice anywhere from 12, possibly 14 hours a day in order to maintain, not just maintain, but to surpass the level that I was at when I won my first major in 2004. And I had said last week in an interview that I said Grady Matthews changed my mind. When I saw him crying on a dinner table the year that I won the sportsmanship award for the first time in my career, I got a check for $2,500 and another check for $7,500 for the Camel Pro Bearded Series for finishing ranked 12th that year. It was a bonus check that they gave all the players, depending what they finished ranked at the end of the year. And when I saw Grady say that I can't believe I put 40 years to the game and I had nothing to show for it, and he was just flat out broke, I said, I don't want to be in that position when I'm his age. So I started looking for different ways of making a living. I started giving lessons. Next thing you know, that turned into an opportunity to do corporate parties, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, private parties, you name it. I've done it all. I work with actors for TV shows, for film. I've appeared on one film and one TV show, a quick cameo. So I've gotten so many opportunities being the house pro at Amsterdam Billiards. They gave me an opportunity that a lot of players would kill for, because I wound up working out a deal with them where anyone that calls for a lesson, I get first dibs. They have to ask me first before they ask any, because some places have more than one pro. And I can understand why rooms would say, listen, you can't be the only house pro here. we have to have other, let's say we have 10 other pros that live in the area, they want to come here, we have to give them the opportunity. But I had an exclusive with Amsterdam Billiards where they would give me first dibs, whether it was for lessons, for parties, for actors, for anything. And it worked really well for me. I really thank them for the opportunity for so many years. But my advice is, if you're going to work out a deal with the pool room, make sure that both parties benefit. Don't make it so that they benefit and you don't, or vice versa. Because if not, from experience, it's not going to work out.
Okay. That's a great answer. Chris?
So out of the actors that you taught, who was the best?
You guys ever watch Showtime's Billions?
Not me.
Yeah, if you look it up, Google it right now. Damian Lewis from Showtime's Billions.
Okay.
He also came out in a Showtime show called Homeland.
Okay.
This guy was playing run out pool.
Really?
Yeah, he was playing run out pool. He said he played a lot when he was younger. He used to play a lot of snooker, and then eventually got into pool.
Okay.
Well, I've seen in one of your bios where you were on set with on Boardwalk Empire.
That's correct. Yeah, I was on Boardwalk Empire with. Go ahead.
Did you meet Paul Sparks?
Did I meet who?
Paul Sparks.
I'm not sure who Paul Sparks is. I'm sorry.
He's an actor that's in there, and he played in Joe Pickett. Have you seen it? It's a series on AMC, I think. It's called Joe Pickett. Well, he's on there as well. But
I might have. I'll look him up. I know when I was on the set of HBO's Boardwalk Empire, HBO gave me the opportunity to work on 4 different episodes, and I worked mostly with Michael Stuhlbarg, who played Arnold Rothstein, the guy that rigged the 1918 World Series, and a couple of times with Vinny, who played Lucky Luciano in Boardwalk Empire as well.
So have you seen that show, The Girlfriend Experience?
No, I had not.
Okay.
I watch a lot of Netflix shows too, so I'm surprised. I watch a lot of Netflix shows, so.
All right. I'm on Netflix probably 2 hours a day at least.
Yeah. Yeah, Netflix is awesome.
Well, the Paul Sparks I asked you about, I went to school with him, and so he's from.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's from my hometown. So.
Oh wow, that's cool. You must be very proud of him.
I am.
Okay, I got a question, Tony. It's about family. It's about balancing family and your pool career. And let's go back to when, before the kids, just met your wife, and then how you make all that work.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because after telling you the Grady story, I left that part out because excuse me. Because when I saw Grady going through that, I also saw several players that had wives or girlfriends and that they had kids with, and some of them didn't see their kids at all. And there was one whose name I won't mention because he was a buddy of mine, but he didn't see his kid for 12 years. And when we finally got his kid into the country, his kid asked his mother, "Who is this?" He didn't know who he was. He didn't have pictures of him or anything. And I thought about that because I had a boy named Jonathan who's 27 years old now, and I also have a boy named Antonio who's 6. And I thought about that, and I said, my God, I said, we're going to 16 stops a year, and my son cries every time I leave, and he misses me a lot. And I'm saying, I have an opportunity to go to some international events, which I hadn't up to that point. I had only gone to Cardiff, Wales, and the Moscone Cup in 2004 in Holland. And I said, I think I want to make sure to make it my business that my son knows who his father is growing up, and that I'm there for him when he needs me. So I went for quite a number of years without playing on any kind of tour, just to make sure that I was there for my son. So I started sticking to regional events for quite a number of years. And I just wanted to make sure so that because I asked myself, what's more important, my career or my son? I said, no, it's no way. I won't even think twice about it. Obviously, the obvious answer is my son. and he grew up to be a very good boy that I'm very proud of. Very great young man. Built a nice little career for himself and everything. So I'm very proud of him.
Okay. Chris?
That's all I got.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about your move from New York to Miami. Maybe some things that you haven't already told everyone. What's the pool scene like in Florida or in Miami versus in New York City?
It's like, for me, it's like night and day. Over here, they just don't have enough open tournaments. It's all over Florida. You either got to travel 5 hours away, 5.5 hours away, 3, 4 hours. They rarely have any over here in the area that I live in, Miami. So it's not even close to what it was in New York. And even the opportunities for lessons, they're like very few and far in between. But there's no place like New York.
Yeah.
In New York, you have filthy rich people all the time calling Amsterdam Billiards. Hey, I want to take some lessons. That's when they used to call me all the time. You know, it was like a hangar there.
I see.
But over here, yeah, it's kind of tough, but I don't regret the move because I say all the time, even though I've never been a fan of the summer, I do believe that I have prolonged my life by at least 10 years moving here, because I'm more active than I was in New York. In the wintertime, when it's very cold, you just stay home and you want to sit down and do nothing.
Oh, it's
Especially anything
swimsuit
indoors.
season year round.
Yeah, over here, you know, you're doing stuff. I'm currently, like I said, I was painting for a couple of hours before I came on your show today, and I have to go back and move some IKEA cabinets into the new master closet that we're building, all that stuff. Yeah, exciting times.
I want to say another player, Raymond Linares, from where you're at now. You two, he would be like the 20 years younger version of you. Maybe not 20, but he's got great sportsmanship. You guys act a lot alike. You look a little bit alike, and now you live in the same area. So, you ever seen him?
Raymond. I love Raymond. Raymond is such a stand-up guy. He's a fantastic representative of our sport. I'm super proud of him. Always has a fantastic attitude, no matter what. No matter what. I mean, I don't even know if I've ever seen him angry, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So he's a good all-around guy. Unfortunately, he moved from Miami many years ago. He used to live here. He was born and raised here, I believe. That's what he told me. And now he lives in Tampa, which is about a 5.5 hour drive from me. So every once in a while, when he visits his family here, because he still has family here in Miami, he'll call me in the hopes of getting together. And we haven't been able to yet, because it's always, when he comes here, I'm probably out of town or have another thing that I have to do, family function. But at some point, I'm sure we're going to get together.
Yeah.
Are there nice pool rooms in your area, or?
Yeah, they have Sharpshooters, which I think is a fantastic room. Joe Penna is one of the owners there. I become pretty close to Joe. He's a good guy. They have Beyond Billiards. They have so many other rooms that I have not been to because, like I said, this addition that we're building to our house has overtaken my life for the last 2 years. So once that's done and I have my table set up, I'm going to start practicing more and traveling more around Florida for more tournaments. I did get lucky that they opened up a billiard academy called the South Bay Billiards Academy, which is only a 4-minute drive from where I live. And what they did is they installed 5 tables. This is what happened. 10 gentlemen got together. They were all friends, and they put their money together to rent out a place. I think it was $2,200 or $2,400 a month, and they bought 5 tables, put in the academy. We call it the South Bay Billiard Academy. They charge $100 a month for membership, and if you pay $100 a month, you get a key fob, become a member. You can use that key to walk in to that place to practice literally anytime you want, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You want to go practice 2 in the morning? Just scan the key, you're in. 5 in the morning, scan the key, you're in. It's really awesome.
That's pretty slick.
They did this. Yeah, they did this because they did some research and discovered that under law, you're not allowed to close a facility like that during a pandemic if it's a members only club. If it were a public place, then you can. This is what I was told by one of the board members. So I found that very interesting, and I thought it was actually a great idea. They're hoping to expand that idea to Broward County.
You going to be
When the
giving out
Miami
any
Heat-
key fobs to your studio in your house, to your pool room?
Yeah, yeah, I'm going to be giving lessons from my house. Yeah, I
No,
definitely
I
plan on
meant
doing
giving
that.
out key fobs so that
Yeah.
they can come
What?
to come to your place anytime they want.
Yeah, I think they know they're more than welcome to come anytime. So I think that they're going to need a key fob.
So how long
They
do
would
you
just
think
want,
it's going to be done?
they finally put up the drywall. It's just that there's so many little things that we need to take care of. Like, for example, I don't know if you're familiar with Florida homes, but a lot of homes have a lot of texture on the inside of the house, not just outside. And I never liked that look. So when we built the addition, we decided we want to go with a skim coat, which is nice and smooth, a nice, perfectly smooth finish, nice and flat. Well, now that that's been done, I'm trying to finish a baseboard so that we can move everything from the old house to the new house. And then once we do that, they have to sand every square inch of the old house, every floor, ceiling, everything to get rid of the texture so they can make it flat and then do the skim coating. So yeah, we thought we would be done by Christmas, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I'm looking more like maybe February, March, like 100% done. I mean. Even
Okay.
though a house is never 100% done, but
Well, when we come to Florida, we want to do another interview with you there at the new place.
you're welcome anytime.
We need to
Chris,
find
That'd
out
be wonderful.
we need to find out what the oldest pool hall is in Florida, and go do
Yeah,
it.
that I've only been here 3 years, so but that would be nice to find out. I would be interested now that you mention it. I never thought of that. That would be cool.
What do you know to be the oldest one in New York?
It's got to be Amsterdam Billiards. Amsterdam was supposed to celebrate their 30th anniversary on the year the pandemic hit.
Okay.
So unfortunately, that didn't happen. He was hoping that people were allowed to travel, whatever, and everyone was still scared and stuff like that. So he had to skip it. So he's probably going to do it in the 35th anniversary or something.
Okay. I'm out of questions except mental game stuff. So I've got a question about what do you do when things don't go your way? You maybe have a bad match, you don't play your best, you dog it, whatever. What do you do or not do following that?
One thing I do not do is what I used to do in the past is beat myself up. That's the worst thing that you can do when you're playing where you're not having a good match. How many times have you seen people say, I'd rather have my good bad game than my bad game? Many times. I've heard that many times. So if I have you know how many times I played horrible and that would be my opponent 11-2. And other times I would play absolutely perfect with the exception of making a ball on the break once or twice and I lose 11-10. And I played absolutely perfect, right? So the reason why sometimes you win when you play bad is because you're still putting it all and leaving it all out there. So I've said this for years and in many interviews, I always ask myself two questions when I'm having a bad day or a bad match. Do I really want to win? Do I truly want to win? And if the answer is yes, the second question is, do I want to win bad enough that I'm willing to go through whatever I have to go through in order to get that win, even if it's mental? Absolutely. So what I do is every time I miss a shot, I forget about it. I let it go right away. People ask me for years, what's the toughest shot you ever had to learn in pool? The toughest thing. I said, there's no shot. There's no shot that I had to learn in pool that was tougher than mastering my mental game. Because once I learned how to control my emotions and my anger, everything else became second nature. It became easier. See, yes, I'm not saying that there's no tough shots in pool. They exist. But if you have 100 of them, that means that you haven't worked on those 100 shots to get it to the point where it feels easier. So mentally, I've gotten to a point in my life where I don't believe there truly is a hard shot in the game of pool. If there is, then you just got to work on it until it's no longer hard. But I never approach a shot, no matter how hard it is, telling myself it's hard. Maybe the old Tony used to do that, but not the newer with winning in my Lanny Basham attitude type player that I turned into. I would never think of it the way I used to. I think of it completely different now.
What do you think about getting you and Lanny Basham or one of his sons together and doing an interview?
I would absolutely love to do that. I actually thought about that a number of times.
Let's
But
make it
I would
happen.
want, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. But I always said that if I did do that, I would want to have my studio ready.
Oh, you look
Because
good. You look good in your studio right here.
Yeah, this is the car.
It's
You know,
the
the
quietest
only,
place you can be.
yeah, I've only done this. I did the interview last week in this very car, and this week in this car because the addition is just too noisy. We have a guy installing tile in the bathroom, another guy cutting wood. It's just too noisy.
Yeah. So I'm going to work on that, and then I'll message you. I really have, there's not been one tip or one suggestion that any pool player has given me stronger than that book. And this was 3-4 years ago. And I still remember five huge principles from that book. I need to reread it. Can't hear you, Tony.
Sorry about that. I had muted it to cough a bit because of my asthma. I said it's a game changer. It's definitely a game changer.
Okay, Chris, you want to sign us off?
Yep. Hey guys, man, we appreciate y'all joining us today. Tony, thanks again for your time. Really enjoyed the visit. If y'all enjoy content like this, please hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment and let us know how we're doing. And we'll see y'all next time on the Pulling Around Show. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you for the opportunity, gentlemen. I really appreciate it. I hope you both have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Tony.
too,
It's
sir.
an honor.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.